Well, here we are with another edition of Chamber Chatter. I'm Rosemary Hughes, and my co-host Carol Churchill is not with us for this segment, but I have a very interesting guest this morning, and I'll start off by saying, did you ever think about relocating, leaving your house, selling your house, maybe because you are moving somewhere else? You had your job send you to another place. Maybe you have some financial situations. You have too much work that has to be done to your home before you sell it, and you feel that, that you just don't know how to deal with that. And maybe you inherited a house and you're trying to figure the easiest way to get it off your hands. There are so many issues around that. And my guest today is going to answer your questions regarding that and tell us about his business, HomeVestors. My guest is Scott Murphy from HomeVestors, River's Edge, and they can have an answer to your problem. What is HomeVestors, River's Edge, Scott?
Well, thank you for having me here. HomeVestors River's Edge Properties is an independently owned franchise of HomeVestors. Most people know us as the We Buy Ugly Houses people. We're professional home buyers that buy all types of houses in any condition.
Well, we see billboards around. When you mention ugly houses, and I'm sure everyone has seen that around, and at first you say, ugly houses. What is it all about? Ugly houses don't necessarily mean your house is ugly. You might be in an ugly situation.
Definitely.
That is part of your franchise, that expression, we buy ugly houses. You might see other companies using that expression, but that's really HomeVestors
it's trademarked
exclusively.
with HomeVestors.
And HomeVestors is HomeVestors America. I mean, they are throughout this country, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so it's nice to have someone local that is in that business. So when you think of an ugly house, do you only buy ugly house? When I say ugly houses, do you only buy ugly houses?
Not at all. We
No.
buy the pretty ones too.
You buy the pretty ones too. But there's a catch to this. What you do is so interesting. And you actually go in and alleviate the fears of who is selling their house, or reassure them that they don't have to spend all this money doing all this work. Could you tell a little bit about how you would do something like that? How
Definitely.
You go through it?
First of all, somebody would call us if they have a property they're looking to sell, whether they want to avoid going and putting it on the market or they just need a quick sale. Our job is to go out there, evaluate the property, have a conversation with the seller, and see if HomeVestors is a fit for them and the property is a fit for us. We don't always buy the ugly houses, but our goal is to purchase a house that we can rehab and resell, or rehab and keep to rent. We try to make every community a little bit better, one house at a time.
So when you go into the house and you see what has to be done, there are repairs that have to be made and all, you make an offer.
Yep.
That you'll buy the house as is. I've often said that myself. If I had to sell my house, I think I better sell it as is because it's very old and all this and that.
So much
so
easier.
you do this, and there's a lot to this process too, that you buy a house as is, and you make the advantages.
Yep. And we even pay the closing costs. You can
Right.
take or leave anything you want. We've bought in fire damage properties, water damage, hoarding houses, and a lot of people don't want to take everything or go through everything, whether it be for health reasons, physical reasons, financial reasons. We're not the highest offer around, but we're definitely the easiest, and we pay cash.
You pay cash. That's the magic word, I think, that you pay cash. Sometimes people, I know sometimes people will often expect market value if you come in and buy their house. But when so much work has to be done and you're saving them from having to do all that work, you offer a pretty reasonable amount of cash, I would say.
Oh, definitely.
For
The whole
them to do
purpose
it.
of the appointment is to take a look at the house and get to the offer part of it. It doesn't work for everybody. If you're expecting the most amount of money, your best option is to put it on the market, have an agent come in, let everybody come into open houses, your neighbors, the public, and really milk it for every penny. If you're not wanting to go that route, we're a better solution for you.
Okay. So what's your background?
I'm a licensed real estate broker and an investor prior to joining HomeVestors. I still own a real estate brokerage, but now I HomeVestors full-time buying properties. And I'm also partners with 2 attorneys that also own
Yeah.
the franchise with me that are also licensed real estate brokers. And it works out quite well because if I can't buy the property, I could refer them to another agent, I could list it, or I could put them in the right place to get done what they need to.
Sounds good. Okay. So, in other words, like homeowners, they don't need to make repairs even if they've had damage from fire, water damage or anything like that?
You know, unlike putting it on the market where it needs to be financeable, since we purchase cash, you don't need to make any repairs.
Yeah.
You don't need to clean it out. And like I mentioned, we even paid the closing cost up to about $2,500.
So you just come and do it all,
Yep.
right? And they can just,
The sellers would still
Leave.
be responsible for their mortgage payments, the taxes, utilities, insurance up to the day that we buy
Yeah.
it. But the recording fees, the stamp taxes, the deed prep, we pay for all of that. So it's pretty all-inclusive.
well, house flipping and real estate investing seems pretty popular these days. How do you differ from other flippers or real estate investors?
Well, aside from probably the catchiest slogan, "We buy ugly houses," we are backed by corporate, which means several things. There's over 800 franchises as of 2017. We were recognized by Entrepreneurs Magazine as one of the fastest growing companies. We're also Better Business accredited. We're members of the local Chamber of Commerce like we here in Everett.
Right.
And we're in good standing with corporate and the state. So we are a full-time professional home buyer. And there's not many other companies that can say that.
I know. This is, I'm told you offer to pay the seller's closing costs as part of your service. Tell me more about that.
Oh, definitely. And I should mention there's no fees or commissions when anybody sells anything to us. We do cover typical closing costs. Depending on the purchase price of the home, those costs will vary, but we usually cover 100% of them. The only thing we don't cover, like I mentioned, is utilities, taxes, or attorney fees, things like that. But we are pretty easy and try to make it as easy as possible for the seller. Since we are a discount cash home buyer, we can close in as little as 10 days. Prefer a little bit more time, but we are flexible to close quickly.
Okay, so hypothetical situation. I am interested in selling my home. Where do I start?
You start in one of 2 ways. You can call 1-800-44-BUYER, or you can visit us online at webuyuglyhouses.com. You'll be connected with a friendly representative that will schedule an appointment for somebody like myself or another property specialist to come and take a look at the house. Appointments take about an hour. We'd have a conversation, look at the property, and see if it's a fit for both the seller and for us. If it is a fit, we decide what the next steps are, and we go that way. I typically look at 15 to 20 houses before I buy one, so we don't buy every house.
Okay. What would stop you from buying a house? Anything?
Oh, a number of reasons. If it makes more sense for them to put it on the market, why would they sell it to us?
Okay.
Maybe they decide to keep it. There could be title issues. There could be tenant issues. People call us for a number of different reasons, and many of those reasons could prohibit them from selling the property.
Now, lots of times, I would think some of these houses are like part of an estate or an inheritance or something, and the family just wants to get it off their hands. And I would imagine that would be part of your business too.
Yep. We buy a lot of probate, a lot of tenant problems, a lot of lien issues, and probate there's not many solutions for probate. So when people call us with the probate, we go out and we take a look at it. We find out who's able to make the decision and what the estate needs. Sometimes we're not always the best fit, but when we are, we purchase it.
I would think, to me now, just hearing all this, that the most interesting thing to me is that you come in and look at the house and you are offering cash. The seller doesn't have to deal with any of the hassles that they have to go through, all the legalities and everything else, because it's all kind of in this package that you offer. And to walk away with cash, that's an advantage to people too.
Yeah, and a lot of people also, it may not be the cash, it may be avoiding embarrassment.
Yeah.
It may be a time frame issue.
Yeah.
People sell for a number of different reasons. Keep in mind, we're a discount cash buyer, so we're not moving into the property, and we do buy at a discount. So when we are the solution for somebody, they generally call us, and they know that they're going to be selling the property.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, if it's in their best interest to put it on the market or do something else with it, we generally tell them.
Yeah, I can see that too. I like, it doesn't have to be an ugly house.
No, not at all.
If somebody's job has them, they have to relocate in a hurry to another area, and they can't hang around and wait until their house is sold or whatever. So you kind of alleviate that problem for them.
Definitely.
And also in cases, say a family breaks up, there are unfortunate situations people are in and they can't keep their homes, and you come in and take care of that stuff too. So you're kind of experts in every area.
Yeah, and the houses that we can't buy, we like to either direct them to somebody that can help them or refer them to an agent. But we try to help every single person that calls us because they're calling us for a reason.
Yeah. Okay. So, and you and your partners work on all this together, or do you each do your individual?
I typically go on most of the buy appointments. So does an Aiden. Keith does most of our financing and the construction aspect of it. So with the three of us, it allows us to buy them, rehab them, and resell them all in-house, which is a big advantage. And with them being attorneys and brokers also, could offer more services to people.
That's great. And you're an Everett guy.
I am.
So you know the area pretty well. And I know you go outside of the city to do a lot of your stuff. You probably go everywhere to do your business. But for the most part, I mean, I'm an Everett person, and it's nice to deal with people who are in your community and from the community and know the whole flavor of everything that they do, familiar with neighborhoods and all that. And the other thing is, I mean, Everett is kind of on the rise in the news with all this exciting stuff that's going on with the Maze redevelopment and with the casino coming in. And I think houses, there's going to be a lot of activity with people either selling their homes or whatever, or fixing them up because of, you know, all the things that are going on. And I think real estate, the market is changing a bit, as you must see that more than I do, I mean, as far as that goes.
Yeah, the market is very hot right now.
Yeah.
Everett's a great place to live.
Yeah.
And
it is.
Not only
It
Everett,
is.
but all the towns surrounding Boston.
Right.
And there's not much more I can say is if you're going to be moving in the town, Everett, Malden, Revere, Medford, they're all great towns, and the market's doing very well.
Yeah, so that's great. Now, I just wanted, your associates are U.S. Scott Merchant, and then Aiden Murphy.
Yes.
And Keith Kenyon, right?
Correct.
Okay. Well, it was a pleasure talking to you today, and I find this whole thing very interesting because of all the stuff that's going on, and I've learned a lot more about HomeVestors, and you are, as you said, they're the #1 home buyers in the country. For many years they have been, but
Yep.
you are a separate you're a franchise of the initial thing,
Yeah,
right?
I'm an independently owned franchise, and our territory is in Massachusetts. If somebody were to call 1-800-44-BUYER with the property outside of my territory, they would type in their zip code and they'd be routed to their local office.
Okay, and you gave your email, your website content too.
WeBuyUglyHouses.com.
Okay, well, it was a pleasure having you today,
You
and I
too.
wish you the best in all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. Well, we're back again, and we have a very interesting segment today, something that the whole Everett community will be interested in. We are very fortunate to have two guests today who work for the Everett Credit Union, which has been in operation in this city for 91 years in Everett. They haven't been, but the credit union has been. And I would like to introduce the CEO of the Everett Credit Union, Barbara Frazier, and the Vice President of Branch Operations, Rosa DeCastro. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm Rosemary Hughes, and this is our co-host, Carol Churchill. All right.
Thanks, Rosemary. First of all, I know that you know, people pass by the credit union all the time, and many have accounts with you. but there's just so much information that I've garnered ever since we were talking about putting the show together, that I think it would be interesting to just start off and talk a little bit about the history of the credit union and what makes it different from a bank. What are the advantages of being a member and having a deposit or having a loan with the Everett Credit Union?
The difference between a credit union and a bank is that the credit union is owned by its shareholders. So when you make a deposit in a credit union, for $25, you become an owner, if you will, of the credit union. We operate with a volunteer board of directors that is selected from the members of the credit union. Whereas when you join a bank, you're not really joining anything, you're just giving them a deposit, and they have their board of directors is paid, and they're working and looking out for the shareholders of the bank. And we have been around for 91 years, but we have changed a lot during that time. Credit unions have gotten into the mortgage business. We do auto loans. We have savings, we have checking accounts, we have CDs. We're running some CD specials right now. And we also have gone into the electronic age. So we have the mobile banking and online banking and bill pay, a lot of the remote deposit services, so that the younger people can do everything they want from their little phone. It's in their back pocket. So we were the traditional, come cash a check and make a deposit and do some savings, and everything is changing, and the credit union is keeping up with the times, and you have to come into the credit union once to open your account and become a member. But then if you don't want to see us, you can apply for loans online, you can make deposits using your phone, doing remote deposit capture, and we just got lots to offer.
So remote deposit capture, that's when you take a picture of the front and the back of your check and send it in?
Yes.
I know, I did that for the first time a couple weeks ago. That's really unbelievable.
Yes.
I mean, to be able to make a deposit right from your living room, it's just pretty cool.
It really is.
Well, I know you've been around for a lot of years, and you must have a pretty good membership. I'm sure you do, because your reputation is out there. And about how many members would you have, do you think?
We have about 4,200 members.
You do? Wow, that's impressive. That really is. Yeah.
Now, are you insured like a bank is? Are you FDIC insured? Is there another insurance that covers credit unions?
Yep, we're insured by the NCUA, which is the National Credit Union Administration. It works kind of like the FDIC does for the banks, and insures up to $250,000. And then we have also excess insurance coverage from the MSIC, which is kind of like the DIF at a bank. So anything over $250,000 is fully insured by the MSIC insurance that we have.
Oh, okay.
I'm still impressed with the fact that you said you can become a member, a shareholder, with $25 deposit down. That's pretty impressive. It's not intimidating to go into the bank and think everybody else has so much more money than I do, and so that's very good.
Now, where are the branches in the Everett area?
We only have one location.
Oh, one location?
Yeah,
Okay.
on 650 Broadway.
Oh, all
in
right.
Everett, yes.
Okay.
You're very involved in the community. You belong to many different organizations and things, and you do a lot. Would you like to mention some of the things that you're involved in?
Well, we belong to the Kiwanis Club
Yeah.
and the Everett and Malden Chamber. We also adopted Powlin School by donating back-to-school backpacks and supplies. We do the annual Children's Book Drive annually. Mass Badge, we volunteer. We have our staff volunteer for Thanksgiving dinner. Mass collation for the homeless. In the city of Everett, tree lighting. Past few years, Everett Credit Union participates in festivities. We have our staff, the young staff that at the bank, and they volunteered. They go down, and we also hire Everett High School students. And they mostly it's like the first job. They you know, they learn the, you know, the work ethics, you know, and about banking, and it's really nice to see as a someone who's 16, 17, and being, you know, at the Everett Credit Union, taking transaction, open accounts, talking to the members about IRAs and CD specials, and, you know, consolidating their bills like for personal loans, and apply for Visa credit cards. And it's nice to see that. And they actually like run the branch, you know, and it makes me very proud.
That's great. And you also have a scholarship that you award to high school students. It's
Yes.
Joseph Fisher.
Yeah,
Is it-
Joseph Fisher Memorial Scholarship, yes. Everett Credit Union awards the scholarship to the high school students. So, yeah,
That's great.
Yeah.
It's a great way to get young people involved too, getting back to where you say you hired the students, because they learn so much more about banking than they realized. And it kind of gives them a little insight into, is this, maybe I'd like to go into something like this
Yes.
later on. Huh?
No, I think financial literacy is so important for young people. I mean, for them to understand, you know, interest and compound interest, and, you know, the credit cards. If you pay with a credit card and something's on sale and you don't pay it off, it's not really on
Yeah,
sale.
yeah.
I mean, is there anything else you do to promote financial literacy among young people?
Well, recently we went into the high school and we did a pilot on educating them about, you know, upcoming student loans, how to finance their education,
Oh, that's
and doing
Yeah.
some education on that. If they come into the branch, we have a youth checking account. Where if they have a parent or a guardian that's over 18 and they're between the ages of 16 and 18, they can actually open a checking account, and they can, you know, start using it under the guise of their parent or guardian, helping them understand that when you swipe your debit card that it's actually coming out of your account,
Right.
and that you need to know that so that you're not overdrawing your account. So there's some educational products that we can do, and we're more than happy to sit down with young people and talk to them about what their financial, how to balance a checkbook. And it's not the way it used to be, because there's so much electronic things going on. I mean, I remember balancing my checkbook to the penny every day, and, you know, on my monthly statement. Now they look at their account every day because it's on their phone.
Yeah.
So the necessity to get it down to a penny at a set moment in time at the end of the month isn't how people balance their bank statements anymore. But
Yeah.
they still need to be aware of it so that they're not overdrawing. And if they write a check, they need to know that that $100 went to their insurance payment, and don't spend it just because it says it's at the ATM.
The advantage of being able to check it every day, believe me. I've been there, and it's so much easier to see if you made a mistake or something.
Yeah.
So that's great. But you have a philosophy. I know it's part of your philosophy, and I always hear that about credit unions. People helping people. And a lot of the things that you talked about right now, being part of the community, and just having customers from every walk of life that can come in there, and having so many customers is indicative of that philosophy of people helping people. Anything we hear around the community is that everybody at the credit union is so nice and friendly, and people are very comfortable to come to you and see you. So that's a credit to all of you who
And that's great to
have been there
hear.
over the
Thank you.
years. It
Yes.
really is.
Yes.
And I noticed something else, and that there's something, a shared branching. Is that?
Oh yeah, that's a unique to credit unions. And if say you went on vacation to California, and I don't know, you were short on money and couldn't find an ATM, there are other credit unions that participate in the shared branching. And so if you called our branch office, we would Google it for you if you couldn't do it on your phone, and tell you where the closest branch was. And then you could walk in there and get money from your Everett Credit Union account at a credit union that's located across the nation, anywhere. So it's really a cool thing. You know, not a lot of people use it because they usually defer to their debit cards, but if you need more than the limit on your debit card, you can walk in and get whatever you need.
Now, how about with ATMs? You said you had one convenient branch located on Broadway. Now, can you use your ATM card, your debit card, to get money at other locations? Is there a network or
Yep,
not?
we belong to the NICE and the SUM network. So anywhere there's
yeah,
a
I've
NICE
heard
or a SUM machine, it's surcharge free. And otherwise, if there's a fee for the ATM, you would pay their fee. We don't charge you a fee for that.
Okay.
I don't want to forget to mention, too, that you have a rather impressive board of directors. And you might want to talk a little bit about that, or what they do, and how they kind of guide where things are going. They're mostly community members, right?
Yes, they are. They meet monthly, and they set the direction of the credit union, and they support the credit union in advancing it into the electronic age. We got a new computer system to support that, and they look at it and make sure everything is running smoothly. There's an audit committee. There's a credit committee that makes sure that the loans that are going out are good loans and for provident purposes. There's an investment committee that looks at the investments we make that are, if we don't have it all loaned out in loans, we would love to get more loans. So come down and see Jeff, our loan officer, or Robin or Margie. And but when there's excess money that we have, we invest it so that we can make the most return, and then we give it back to our members in the form of dividends on their accounts or their certificates of deposits.
Good. Okay. So that's anything else that we haven't really asked you about that you want to mention about your business? You're vice president of branch operations.
Yes.
And that is mainly.
Well, I oversee the operation department and retail. We do training, making sure the staff is well trained on all the products and services. Basically that's what I do. And
Very good.
Now, how many employees do you have there?
we have 15 employees.
Oh, okay.
Yes, 15 employees.
Now, before we sign off, there was one more question, and that was, I know we talked at the beginning about how a credit union is different from a bank, but what really, are there any other differences that distinguish the credit union from other financial institutions? Is there any focus that's different? Are your services and your products different or the same? Can you tell me just a little bit in closing, really what makes you different?
Well, although, we might have the same products and services, compatible to other banks, but what distinguishes Everett Credit Union is the personal service that we give to our members. Our staff guarantees, that the banking is better where you belong at the Everett Credit Union.
So you really customize the services to the needs of the members, whether
Correct.
you find out what problem they have or what goal they have, and then you kind of develop a plan.
Yes.
Just specifically for that. You can do that or you can just come in and deposit money or take a loan.
Correct. We train our staff, to listen to the member when they come in and what they need, so we can customize their banking
That's
needs.
nice.
So every member feels like they're getting personal attention, which is so important
Yes.
today. That's great. Really.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today. It was a pleasure to have both of you, and maybe we'll see you again when some new things come about. And thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that concludes another Chamber Chatter. Thank you, guests. Thank you, Rosemary. And thank you, ECTV. Thanks, Bob, Ashley, Matt, Cheryl, everyone here at the station. They do a wonderful job, and they just keep the shows coming. So
Keep them coming.
anyway, thanks, and everyone out there, have a good day.